Before we start, welcome everyone. It is, wow, it's the last Friday in July. Welcome to the IT Hour. We've got a lot of new people joining us because we've been promoting that it is SysAdmin Day. Last year we celebrated and gave away some things, and we're going to do that again this year because we love our sysadmins. We love our IT folks. We want to show you a little bit of appreciation. So yeah, everybody's saying happy sysadmin day in the chat. Scott, welcome back. It's been a little while.
Great to be back. Great to be back. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. Just came back from a conference, the Mac Admins Conference in Penn State, where I got to meet with a ton of customers and IT admins, and just inspiring to see that community and get some feedback on some of the items that we're working on here.
Yeah, very cool. I heard really great things about it. Did you get to try some of the Penn State Creamery ice cream? Did you are you
I did.
do
I
you
mean,
like ice cream?
delicious. I mean, just yeah. I mean, it was just the largest portions of all time, and it's a bit of a cult following. Like once you're in on the creamery, you're in on the creamery.
Oh yeah. I mean that was one of the main topics of prior to besides meeting everyone and talking about tech. It's like forget that. It's go for the ice cream. Um, Rob
Yeah,
says
and
found out
just
about it too late. Yeah, you'll have
on
to
the
go next
topic,
year, Rob.
it's probably the most special, I think, conference because it really feels like a big meetup. Conferences like RSA or Spice World, where it's all these vendors on the floor and you're walking the floor like filling up bags of stuff. Mac Admins is so different. It's so intimate, and while there's still 500, 600 people there, everybody knows each other, and just the conversations are so meaningful. And this was the first time it was held in person post COVID, so it really had a lot of energy.
Yeah. Um, we are going to try sometime next month when we can coordinate everyone to get a couple of the organizers to come on and talk a little bit more about it, kind of after the fact, how it went, all the work that goes into it, and a little bit about how they've built such an amazing community. Of course, Tom and
Mhm.
Pam have been a part of it for years, which is how I found out about it. So yeah, it's Rob saying, not gonna lie, 500 people is about 495 outside my comfort zone. Yeah, they tried to, I think, have some stuff outdoors when they could, for people that just felt like it was a little bit too much, but, um, yeah, I think it's worth it when you get to see all your peers and really get to see people you've been talking to for a while, so, hoping it'll work out next year. So, if you haven't gone before, you should definitely think about it. Urvashi, how are you doing? Kinda taking the extra slot
Excellent.
while Alexa's out and everything and filling in beautifully.
Thank you. Unfortunately, there's no like major technology that is named after me, but there is one major Bollywood song that's named after me, so we'll go with that for now. So no Hey Alexa jokes, but there is a song with my name in it. You can look it up.
The most famous one with mine in it is an old school song. It's "Oh my God,
My God.
Becky." And everybody always says that to me. So that's the only song I really have that's any fun.
I get the privilege of Scotty doesn't know, so that is oftentimes a song sung
Mm.
in jest.
But you know so much, and you're going to share all that greatness with us today. But before we jump into that, we're going to go over our usual agenda, especially for you new folks. We talk about community a little bit, and when Alexa's here, we do updates, and then we talk about product releases. So we'll do that, and then we will hand it over to Scott to talk about Windows MDM. So first up in the community, we've got several questions that if you already know something about them, please feel free to jump in. I know Urvashi is doing some research on those, but if you already have an answer, then feel free to jump in. There's one about invalid SSO relay state from an identity provider, successfully configuring nice in contact SSO. PowerShell command get JC association fails. So they were wanting some advice on that. And Windows MDM enroll devices using MDM deep link. There was also a question about that. So we will have those in the IT hour show notes and recap in the community. and you can check those out. If you want to look at a configuration for Tailscale SSO OIDC, one of our members has posted that. And Sean did a compilation of several different things he has written and named it IT Onboarding Handbook. So he did kind of a guide to a bunch of different things and linked all of the stuff that he's written so far. So he's done a really great job of that. I highly recommend you go check that out. And we did a quick blog introducing Urvashi to the community for those who hadn't met her yet on the community. Of course, everybody's met her here a couple of times now, but just a little more about her in her own words. Thought you might want to check that out as well. And normally I'm going to put a link up to the community. Normally, Alexa would talk about meetups. We're kind of got those on pause while she's on vacation and during the heat of the summer where it's hard to get people out, but we will have more updates on those when she gets back. And under product release, don't forget that yesterday was the change in terms and conditions for Apple Business Manager. We talked about this last week, had a link to Tom's article on the community about it. So you need to log in ASAP and accept those terms and conditions so that you can continue on with what you're doing. We'll link that article as well. And one other cool thing that we are excited about is users can now authenticate their device from the lock screen of their mobile device without opening JumpCloud Protect. So you can confirm an MFA push notification directly on your mobile device lock screen without having to open the app altogether. And if a biometric check is required by the JumpCloud administrator, the user can subsequently go through Face ID or fingerprint or passcode before accept deny is accepted. So that's really cool. I know that I'm looking forward to using that because trying to grab my phone and unlock it and go pull up the app and everything from the notifications is just a few extra steps. But do go update your app in the App Store in order to take advantage of that, please.
I want to call out that that's a long press. So I think for the different types of phones that are out there, this is an SE. I don't have that. What was the screen that they did that was like pressure resistant? So it's a long press, and then you'll bring your finger down and be able to approve it from there. With Face ID, the phone will unlock, and that will be what's approved that you've pressed. So that request is securely unlocked with the notification being triggered from the lock screen, but the phone has to unlock to send the request through. So the devil's in the details, but a much faster experience. That's all predicated on that long press.
Very nice. I'm going to try that out because I just updated my app. So next time I have to log in, I'm going to play with it. It does not unlock from your watch yet. I know we've had requests for that if you have an Apple Watch, but that is not part of this functionality yet. But I don't know if it's planned, but stay tuned. Maybe that's coming up one of these days. Awesome. Okay. Well, with that, Scott, you've got some updates for MDM and maybe talk about what's come out recently, and maybe we get to hear a little bit about what might be coming next. Maybe?
Yeah. So foundationally, Windows MDM. So again, welcome. Happy to be back. I'm Scott. Longtime JumpCloudian. Before I worked at JumpCloud, I was an IT admin and spent 10 years kind of working at 3 different IT shops, working my way up to an IT supervisor. And I loved MDM. MDM was what excited me and actually what excited me to join JumpCloud. So when I joined JumpCloud, we actually weren't in MDM back in 2017. Everything in our device management plethora was all predicated off this awesome agent that really has these incredible both device identity and device management capabilities. I became a product manager basically because I was the canary in the coal mine that was like, hey guys, we don't want to be in for a big surprise. The profiles command for Mac OS is going away, which means that our agent's not going to be able to apply policies anymore. We kind of have to become this thing on Apple called an MDM if we want to do all the great things that we can do with policy management. And I was kind of offered the ability to make that a reality. And we did it. We turned our Apple device management framework into agent management and MDM frame management and got into those approved swim lanes so we can take advantage of these incredible management protocols. So we're doing the same thing on Windows now. So it's the second time I'm having a similar opportunity to implement a joint management experience that takes the best of our agent and the best of a protocol that's developed by a vendor. In this case, it's the Windows MDM protocol, which is developed by Microsoft. If we think about what the start of this journey is, we want to make this reach as wide as it can be. So for Windows MDM, there are a little bit of some differences that we start to think about when we think about what Windows devices are inside of JumpCloud. Windows devices in JumpCloud now are Windows desktops and Windows servers. And the MDM protocol is only available on Windows desktops and only really implemented on non-home versions of Windows 10 and 11. So the first feature we came out with Windows MDM was one of the benefits of it, which is it allows users to enroll into the OS natively using what's called a deep link. So I believe I was on the show a couple months ago to talk about how users can enroll through the user portal, where the idea is that you as an admin may have situations where onboarding devices to JumpCloud may be democratized to end users. These are Wild West scenarios where maybe you're joining a new company or you're acquiring a company, or just your onboarding flow dictates that you can't get hands on the device and the user is responsible for putting the JumpCloud management on there. And the user flow that we initiated enrolls a device via one click in the user portal and happens seamlessly. You click, the device is enrolled. Much better experience to having to navigate the connect key, generating it, copying and paste it, and just the 10 or 12 steps it takes to enroll an agent manually. So here's the deal. That allowed you to onboard new devices into JumpCloud and get Windows MDM and the agent on there. The benefit of having the two is that they complement each other. We have to start somewhere, and we're building a foundation for Windows management. And the first thing our MDM does, our Windows MDM does, is it tamper-proofs our agent. There's times where certain users need to have administrative admin permissions. We don't like that, but sometimes it's not up to us. It's a decision that comes in. These could be developers, these could be executives, or this could just be how the company's been running. And maybe it's going to take some time for change management if we want to convert users to standard user. One of the things that you can't prevent when someone is given administrative permissions on a Windows device is you can't prevent them from uninstalling an application. Just can't. So what this feature does with Windows MDM and agent management is it puts a solution in place that adds more tamper protection. With Windows MDM, if a user uninstalls the JumpCloud agent, our MDM service checks that and will reinstall the agent. And the longest time a device could be unmanaged is about 15 minutes. 15-minute check-ins are how we do MDM. So if a user uninstalls at 12:05 and the check-ins at 12:10, the agent will be reinstalled at 12:10, and it'll actually come in as a new device. I wanted it to stay the same device, but security implications didn't allow for that. So that's the benefit. So now the benefit is that you can enroll all your existing Windows 10 and 11 non-home versions with a single toggle. And I hope that you guys have logged into the admin console and seen how I presented this to you, which is when you click on the device tab, and if that feature is not enabled, you're going to get a pop-up that says, hey, this is available for your org, go turn it on. If you haven't seen that, it may already be turned on. Maybe another one of your admins in your orgs turned it on. There's actually no end user experience for flipping this toggle other than you put this tamper protection in place. Exactly. If the agent is uninstalled, the MDM reinstalls it quickly. The Windows MDM auto toggle was a different implementation choice by me versus a policy that we did for macOS MDM, because the macOS policy actually has a user experience, which in my mind is like you want to roll it out incrementally, one sum many. So the policy approach, why I chose that for Apple MDM, is because it allowed you to roll that phased deployment because there is an end user facing experience, and use your change management practices to ensure that you knew who was going to get that pop-up to say, complete this enrollment. Windows MDM auto enrollment is silent. It's essentially the same experience if you used our JumpCloud commands infrastructure to run a command that does nothing, like there's no user experience. You as an admin know that command's run, you get a result, but the user on the device has no idea. The benefit about this toggle is it solves the cart and the horse debate. They are the same. If you enroll a device with that toggle on via MDM, the agent installs. If you install the agent, MDM installs. So they are the same result that you'll end up in joint management for all of your capable devices, with an underscore being that capable devices are Windows 10 and 11 non-home devices. So what's coming next? To put you in my mind, I am a very incremental builder. I'll answer the question here. It will not take over if another MDM is in place. We're not going to uninstall or unenroll. Removing MDM management from another vendor is required to get that space open for JumpCloud to come in. And you can actually flip that toggle willy-nilly, and it's not going to unenroll devices at all. So there's actually a scenario where you may want to turn MDM auto enrollment off that I'll highlight now, which is those of us that are doing golden image maintenance. If you're an organization that is imaging and they're putting JumpCloud onto a device and then getting that device into a state where it can be captured so that it can be used as an image to spin up new devices, part of that golden image process is deleting some of the files on a device that make that register with JumpCloud as a unique identifier. We would want to turn MDM auto enrollment off when maintaining or creating this image, so that device doesn't register to MDM, so that you don't get into some incompatibility state where one device is now registered as your golden image and you can't use that. Kind of a detailed or in the weeds thing to call out, but I do want to call out that there is a use case to turn that toggle off for a short period of time, maybe when you're doing maintenance like this, and then turning it back on will just make sure that any new devices that come in auto enroll. With home devices, nothing happens. There's just no way to enroll a home device. There's no management plane on home devices. So there's just the same experience that are on Windows servers. We do not attempt to or can install MDM management on home devices or servers. Home is in kind of this gray zone of like, there are capabilities, but super limited capabilities for MDM. And I've kind of made the decision to keep things simple and say we do not support MDM management on home devices. Given just in general, we want to make sure you're using enterprise grade OSs in your enterprise, and home devices should be hopefully at the top of your list for not just reimaging, but for redeployment or upgrades to get users working from secure devices on secure operating systems that have all the enterprise features. Answering questions live here in the chat. The other thing about MDM, just like Apple, there's only one Highlander principle. A device can only be enrolled in one MDM. So there can only be one, and again, unenrolling from one before you turn the toggle on is the recommendation. And if you unenroll a device, our agent will then see that it's available. From a troubleshooting perspective, really what we want to look at there is we want to look at and make sure that the OS versions are what's going on, make sure the OS versions are supported, they're not server versions, looking at the prerequisites. If they match and there's more to dig into, please open a support ticket. And we now have the ability to pull logs. We don't have to ask you to pull logs to see the details, and we'll get the information over to our technical teams to dig deeper. So if you think about unenrolling from MDM if needed, like I guess the needful here would be if we want to jointly manage a JumpCloud agent with another MDM vendor. I really do not intentionally have a way to unenroll devices that's easy in the admin console just from MDM, because it's synonymous to device management. If you want to unenroll from MDM, really the job to be done is unenroll that device from JumpCloud. And the way that we release devices from JumpCloud management is we delete them. And when you delete a device, that leaves all the user states in the same state that they currently are, uninstalls the agent, and unenrolls from MDM. There are some methods I can point you to for how you can in some ways kind of trick with LGPOs and make MDM go from non-removable to removable. But I really don't want to publicize those as being a strong workflow, as MDM is foundational to our device management framework the same way the agent is. And if you don't want our device management, removing MDM and agent are the things that we need to do. Yep, all versions of Pro and MDM are supported. The quick wins for enabling Windows MDM is that tamper protection. And now I want to tell you what's coming next. So what's coming next? What is tamper protection? Well, it's JumpCloud using the MDM framework to install an application where that application is the JumpCloud agent. Behind the scenes, if you look at what we've actually built, we've built the ability to deliver apps to devices via MDM. Currently, apps are delivered to Windows devices via our software management framework, which is done via Chocolatey, or via commands. This is adding a third option that's going to be delivered via MDM and is going to pair with the work that happens with our private repository capabilities. We'll be able to upload executable files to JumpCloud and deploy them to devices via MDM. Pretty synonymous to what we offer for Apple MDM, which is uses Apple MDM to install, but that there requires you to put in a hosted URL, this feature is going to unlock uploading a file to JumpCloud, us deploying it via MDM to Windows devices. Oh, and by the way, you're getting the same capabilities for Mac. We'll be able to upload a package and we'll deploy it that way. So super excited to get those software management capabilities out there and deliver them in the right way. And because we're doing it, and I say the right way, we're doing it via the MDM protocol, which means all of the reporting, all of the feedback, we're not building how that's done. The device is telling us how it wants to be done, and we're just locking in to those management planes. So I have always been an advocate of build to spec versus trying to first write the blueprints and then build them. And with MDM protocols, those are the advantages that we get. We build to the spec of the vendor, and then we can take advantage every year when there's a new release. They're building that into the spec of the operating system, and we get to plug into it. We'll be able to get it to download via a link rather than a package upload. As I understand right now, MDM is just looking at uploading from a private repository. But if you're trying to do it from a link right now than a package upload, there's ways to do that with our commands framework and infrastructure. And the vast majority of admins I talk to that are installing line of business apps or custom apps are doing that via our commands. They're not doing that via private repository and chocolatey.
There's one more question coming up in the questions tab of when.
When, again, I am a middleman, so I don't want to play the telephone game with you. This actually isn't my feature, the software management piece. I can give you fidelity of this summer, so that's about it. But sooner rather than later is what we want, and I really can't dial in a date. We are actively working on this. I've seen some mock-ups for the UI, the UX that have come out that are not mocks, but the increments of it, and I'm really enthused with what I'm seeing. But I can't give you an exact date, but know that we're working hard on it, and this summer it's about the fidelity.
That's awesome. So maybe if we're lucky within this quarter, but no promises because things can change. As usual, when we're talking about roadmap items, things could possibly change. So, we'll do our best, but don't.
This roadmap item isn't going to change. This isn't going to be like
just timing. Yeah.
Yes, timing.
And also, it's not summer everywhere. So it could be the Indian summer or the Australian summer. So summer is a state of mind.
Any word on running commands for Windows in the user context instead of just the system context? There's some wildness that has existed here. Before joining the product team, I led the solutions architecture team, and we wrote the commands gallery. And there are some commands that you can find in the commands gallery. Some of them that use a module that I'm not super fond of, which is like the run as user module, but another one that was designed by a genius member of my team that uses C#. And there's a way that you can actually use one of those templates to run in the user context. And I actually believe that the current command for, if you want to go look at how this works, the current command for installing Password Manager from the command template gallery, I wrote, and it uses this framework. So you can go look at that command right now. It runs in the user context. And if you pull that out and throw it into VS Code, it should be pretty straightforward for you to see how that all works. There's basically a code block that then gets passed into the bottle, and there's like this huge piece in between that does all the user context stuff. But that's in there.
I think
So
we skipped one about will we need to repackage the apps in order to use this?
Repackaging is one way. I know that probably the questions and the feedback that are coming in, because it's my question and feedback, is all the ability to use pre-install, post-install scripting with the framework. So the same way that you can use MSI exec and pass in silent, quiet, no restart, any of those unique things that may be required for that executable. I have some questions there about capabilities, and kind of the answers that I've gotten is that, there's ways to repackage to make sure that stuff works. But there's no repackaging to my knowledge, and I believe that there are going to be some command line arguments to make sure that installs can happen silently from the get, but a little more TBD to come. And I definitely think that you'll be seeing the lead of this feature coming in. I just wanted to call out that Windows MDM, what's coming, I'm unlocking my other team members and engineering teams to build capabilities on the foundation. And that's what they're building. They're building it on top of this Windows MDM foundation. And we've got the foundation out now that we have the auto toggle to enroll all devices. The reach and the impact is going to be there for these new features. I got the same question about the what's new. We will put a thread on that because I looked at what's new the other day, Stuart, and was like, huh, 2 months? We've been busy. So we will figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll pop that up on screen real quick so people can see it in the recording. Wow. Awesome. I'm glad to see all the excitement in the chat too. I mean, people seem to be really looking forward to this, Scott. So I think you're their new best friend.
I mean, this is a platform for admins, by admins. I respect all the work you guys do and how important working software and technology is for organizations. And it's my job with all my teams to be a storyteller. And I have the advantage of being able to tell stories about my past as a former IT admin, but also love connecting with admins and being able to speak a common language with them and tell their stories. So I've got to jump off here in a second, but it was actually this whole storytelling thing was the thing that most inspired me from the Mac Admins Conference. Was the final thing of the conference is like the keystone moment where we all these people from Apple that are building the MDM spec, the engineering leader for Apple MDM, and there's an AMA with them that you can't record or take videos from. So I'll have to tell some stories from it. But the question was asked, how do we make our feature requests impactful? How do we get Apple to build a feature that we want? And the answer that came up really resonated with me, which is stories move mountains at Apple. And I'll say that to you guys, that like when you think about when you're creating your feature requests or you're working, on a support ticket, telling the story about what's going on, what are you trying to do, how are you trying to do it, that makes a huge impact for product and engineering and support teams here. So telling your story in a way that we can understand it is what I look for when I try to talk and gather feedback from the community. And that's my job, to be able to tell that story to our engineers and designers. So super excited stuff. Will Windows MDM be required for JumpCloud Connect in the future? I think I'm having a brain fart. What is JumpCloud Connect?
Or maybe just for JumpCloud to connect. Oh, JumpCloud
no.
Go.
JumpCloud Go is not dependent on Windows MDM, but it's secured by it, right? Because it's all done via the agent relationship. So making sure that that agent's there, MDM will support it. I have to say that we're getting really, really close with JumpCloud Go. I got my first demos of what the end-to-end experience looked like, so we're getting super close. And I just have to say, I'm super excited about the experience. It's going to be a dopamine-inducing login experience, meaning that you're going to like it. It's going to give you a positive bit of feedback. And I was talking to my colleagues before the session started in the green room about how it's kind of similar to like that Apple Pay feeling when it actually works and you get the little ding and it's like, oh yeah, I paid for that. I'm just going to walk out of here now. So a really seamless experience for the whole end user experience, really, I believe is dopamine-inducing. And I'm super excited about, finally getting the power of JumpCloud to your end users, so they're going to be able to understand why it's so powerful that both their identity and their device is secured by JumpCloud, and the seamless piece is what they're going to experience.
All right, one quick last one before you run off. Can we add push to 2FA instead of the code for the admin console? Two-factor.
A lot more coming here on the security front that we'll be talking about, and how we're looking at increasing security for the admin console, requiring MFAs high up on the list, as well as unlocking additional MFA options. So certainly.
On the
and documentation on what
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to be writing up a white paper on this and putting it out there to kind of talk about, how all of these things work. So yes, expect all of that fun stuff when we get closer to release, as well as that same sort of enablement experiments that you saw for Windows MDM, which is when this feature is available to your org, I'm going to pop a pop-up that's actually going to land when you hit the home screen so that you can't miss it. And that will be how you guys know that Go is enabled. It's going to be that same user-led experience.
What about payload variable?
I would have to put a thread on that. The user channel right now, that's more of a Tom question.
Okay, we can grab that, Nathan, and come back to it and maybe get some more information from you. If you want to ask it in the community forum, then Tom's gonna be gone for vacation for a little bit, so it may be a bit before we can answer that for you, but we can put it on ice and then ask him when he gets back. Um, software from Chocolatey. Software from Chocolatey Community is good. I think I read in the past the pro version is more reliable. I don't know. I don't have enough information about Chocolatey, but do you, Scott?
Sorry. One more time.
Uh, Jamal was asking about Chocolatey and whether or not it was good or whether they should have the pro version.
It comes down, so Chocolatey, there are some limitations. The biggest ones come down to rate limiting, which was a bigger issue because it was done by public IP address, where when people were in the office all working together and a lot of apps could have got sent out, we'd get into some problems with that IP address getting rate limited. Not so much of a problem, and that's why you buy the pro version. Not so much of a problem now that people are distributed and working from home. We see that way less frequently. So really the times have changed, what I think requires the pro version. But additionally, community repositories are community repositories, and that has always, had brought up some dialogue with different perspectives. So the net is with Windows MDM, it's going to be your packages that you give us, that you say, hey, install these, and that gives a lot more control over those payloads to your organization's devices.
For push notifications, any plan to, add something to kind of make sure users aren't hitting the wrong one and just kind of approving without looking?
MFA fatigue is kind of what we're going after here, right? So if you think about what we're after here, it's the idea that like when you select a number, you're seeing on your device and knowing that that's you, so that someone's not doing an MFA attack on you, right? Where somehow they've gotten your primary credential and they're like timing it right, where they know, oh, I know Scott logs in at 8:30 because whatever. I'm going to try to time my MFA request at the time that he's logging in so that he can get me in and he won't know. And in the background MFA, and that's what JumpCloud Go is about, where it's only going to happen on your device, and your device acts as that possession factor, so that the actual thing that the code shows, which is you have possession of your phone, your possession factor is your work computer, and that's even more seamless. So that concept of how we can implement like more secure MFA, I'm trying to attack that in more of a seamless way that is both more secure but less work. So that whole thought process of putting a number in is to make sure that you know that that device is your device and you're doing it. When we can tie it so that's happening seamlessly in the background just on secure devices, we're creating like real, we're creating an MFA method that doesn't have the risk of having push fatigue as being one of the ways that people can attack you. So with push, potentially that's a direction that we're going, but I'm thinking about MFA and how we can implement MFA in a way that's even more seamless and transparent to the user, while giving them all the benefits of that security, where they're not actually being asked to like pull things out, where the computer that they're on can count as that possession factor that their device is doing that same job for. So I've had a lot of fun learning about MFA and security as I've gotten into Go. Traditionally, I've really just been focused on device and device management, but as I get more into the authentication frameworks, I'm thinking about it from both the employee experience and the security experience, and those number matchings are certainly secure, but to me, they're kind of a pain in the butt, and we can find better ways to do those jobs because we have that trust factor of managed device and managed user.
Brandon has some interesting comments on that about accessing SSO on any device if not locked down, and whether or not we need to consider it for a short-term solution.
Yeah, I mean, we want to make so that you can only access device on devices that have device trust on them. And kind of the big holdup there is that the lack of mobility support. So we're attacking that pretty hard so that we can get to a place where registered devices can become a thing, where those devices meet certain posture requirements to get in, and therefore they are approved for that SSO attempt. But yeah, there's a lot of perspectives about security and MFA out there, certainly. And additionally, I'm speaking very tactically about managed devices, but mobility brings a whole key in there. And from certificates to YubiKeys to physical devices to apps, the MFA space is exploding. And we want to attack it in the way that is the most secure and seamless for our end users. And that's really what the inception of Go is about.
Well, thank you, Scott. I know you have to drop because you've got another call coming up, but we will bring you any other questions that come in later. So thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Appreciate you. And with that, thank you. Great stuff going on in the comments and everything. And we'll make sure that Scott gets copies of the chat. With that, we are going to go ahead and do IT news, and then yes, we're going to keep you in suspense before we do the drawings for SysAdmin Day. So bear with me. We're going to go over. For those of you who have not joined us before, we like to talk about what's happening in the industry and get your take on it. It's usually a little bit snarky, maybe. I mean, we have a few people in there that are kind of in the chat that kind of like to make fun of what's going on, and we fully support that as long as we're not super mean. So um we're gonna take a look. So one of the things I saw was that Google is delaying its upgraded, more expansive Find My Device network. So they're working on something with having something similar to what Apple has on Find My Device, but they have delayed the broad expansion of that and says it's doing so with personal safety in mind, since the industry spec proposed by itself at Apple isn't quite ready yet. So they're going to hold off on that until they can work with Apple to get that out. However, Android users will start seeing it's rolling out right now. Will start seeing notifications for unknown item trackers that are traveling with them, and there are no separate app downloads or installs required. So on the personal safety part of things, if someone has put an AirTag or other device like that somewhere in your car or your bag or something, Apple has started giving those notifications, and now Android is doing that as well. So that should help people who have a personal safety potential issue, but it also, with stolen items, it may kind of make it a little bit easier. But I think both Google and Apple felt that personal safety kind of trumped trying to track your stuff. So Dean Sarcasm Moncaster. Oh, good to know that that's your middle name, Dean. we also speak fluent sarcasm here. So let's see, Brandon. Not exactly news related, but Rob, who's snarkier? You are the rats.
Should we tell our new listeners what the joke is about the rats and Rob?
Oh yeah, for new users. Well, Rob could tell them in the chat that he has some pet rats, and they get talked about a lot in the chat. They have made an appearance on a couple of our virtual meetups as well. Rumor mill is that Google's going to be releasing a tile AirTag of their own. Yeah, possibly that may be a bigger part of it, but my understanding is they're working with Apple to make sure that at least both companies can identify whichever brand of tag it is, so that they'll pop up. Wait, did I miss something? What did Nathan say? That
Someone slapped an AirTag on his niece's car last year in her college town. That's horrible.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't find that post. Yeah, that's pretty scary. I'm glad that it sounds like she found it. So I'm glad to hear that. And that is the worry, is that will happen. Someone will slap that on there and then track you home. So good and bad on those things. All right, next up from Ars Technica, researchers find deliberate backdoor in some police radio encryption algorithms. So there's a technology used for critical data and voice radio communications around the world, and it's been kind of supposed to be shrouded in secrecy to prevent anyone from closely scrutinizing the security properties for vulnerabilities. But a small group of researchers in the Netherlands got their hands on some info and found pretty serious flaws, including a deliberate backdoor. Now, this is not really used so much in the US. But it is technology that's used in specialized systems sold exclusively to police forces, prison personnel, military, intelligence agencies, and emergency services, such as a communication system used by the Dutch police. So they're calling this out because the vendors that sold the technology knew that this backdoor existed for quite a while. It exists in an encryption algorithm baked into the radios. So it's used to transmit encrypted data and commands in pipelines, railways, the electric grid, mass transit, and freight trains. This is important because obviously it would allow someone to snoop on communications to learn how a system works and potentially send commands to the radios that could trigger blackouts, halt gas pipeline flows, or reroute trains. So pretty serious stuff. Let's see. They were saying that there's about 2 dozen critical infrastructures in the US where Tetra-based radios are used, but it's not as prevalent as it is in Europe. So I hope none of you are using those. Oh, Dean, Tetra. My friend started building an antenna to intercept Tetra signals, but realized you cannot buy the satellite if you are the public. And Rob says, of course, they found a backdoor. Years ago, the NSA wanted a secure backdoor in all network equipment. Yes, I remember. I'm not Pepperidge Farm, but yes, I do. I do remember that, Rob, and I think that's why Apple and others are fighting those things because of a little bit too easy for the bad actors to get that too. And Brandon is saying a backdoor for the backdoor in case the backdoor gets compromised. Say that 10 times fast.
Rob is saying that it's a really safe, make it a really safe password like Gorilla One. Are you telling me that there are any passwords out there that aren't like capital P at SSW0RD? Anything other than that seems to be a secure password these days.
I mean, if you're a Ted Lasso fan, you know that Jamie, one of the football players, said. Well, he was asked, he's like, "Did you use password as your password, Jamie?" Well, yeah, but I spelled it with 2 S's.
Oh
As
my
if
God.
that would, keep them from figuring it out. It's like, didn't Apple state a backdoor for a 3-letter agency as a backdoor for everyone? Yes, I believe they said something similar to that, Ross, which is why they were fighting it because then, you need an exclamation point in password in order to make it secure. That's what you were doing wrong, Urvashi.
Oh my God.
You forgot the exclamation point. Spaceballs.
No, I know.
Spaceballs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's super secure. All right. Some more news about Tesla. We talked not too long ago about their employees watching perimeter videos that they shouldn't have been. Well, now it's being revealed that they had a diversion team to bury range complaints. So every week they would have a bunch of complaints about the range of the battery for the cars, and the unit, according to a Reuters investigation, was reportedly responsible for closing hundreds of cases per week of upset Tesla owners complaining about range performance. Those cars were often working properly, but simply failed to meet Tesla's inflated and exaggerated driving range. So, what I was reading was that the first half of the battery was overestimated in order to make people think there was a longer range, but then it would seem to drain more quickly in order to make sure that people actually didn't get stranded. Like at least they didn't go that far as to where the whole thing was exaggerated and your car dies somewhere and you can't get to a charger. But they were overestimating the range and then hiding it by just closing people's cases without really resolving them. So
That's a
Tesla
great way
didn't
to do
respond to their
business.
Tesla didn't respond to comment, of course. Xerox printers with their 11,111 default admin password. Old modems would have a blank password as default. Oh yeah, remember some of those.
But I feel like a
Ro-
blank password might now be the smartest thing to do because who's going to expect it? Nobody.
Yeah. Oh, luggage. Yes, I remember the stupid luggage locks too. Rob's gonna burb. Let's see. Rogers in Canada. Yeah, I've seen a lot of modems where the password is printed on the label of the modem, so that way you or the serial number. Yeah, so it's a little bit harder to find. I did hear that the Tesla came out with a new battery powered truck, a pickup truck that people have been waiting for, but I haven't checked that out yet. All right. One more. This one, okay, this is in bizarro tech news. Okay. So every once in a while, I will find something really weird that is marginally tech related.
Tech
And
adjacent.
this is a doozy. Okay. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to Congress, but uh Gizmodo asks, is the government hiding alien bodies in a vault under the Pentagon? Have Americans been killed to protect our weirdest extraterrestrial secrets? Nothing was off the table at Congress's much anticipated hearing on UFOs Wednesday, making for quite the show. The House subcommittees on national security, the border and foreign affairs convened what at turns was bizarre, funny, and occasionally boring get together to discuss recent UFO related allegations made by former members of the government. Uh, the narrative painted by these supposed whistleblowers is one in which not only are we not alone in the universe, but highly advanced alien spacecraft, recently redubbed UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomenon, kept slamming into cornfields, thus causing all sorts of trouble for the American government. So apparently, the big takeaway is the need for UFO reporting mechanisms. And
Can you
it just,
imagine the volume that they're gonna get?
I was just laughing. I was cackling as I was reading this. This will be in our recap notes because you really have to, if you haven't been watching it, which I have not, but it's just too funny. Um, we definitely have to look into that further because I know sometimes there's some really good alien stories. So Michael says aliens are too smart to stop here.
I hope
And
so.
then Rob says they are drunk frat students. So
My favorite is Jonathan's, which is battery estimation brought to you by the Microsoft File Transfer Estimation team.
yeah, back to the Tesla thing. Yeah. The ready to release Tesla truck, a 1988 Mazda with jumper cables and a bed full of car batteries. Yeah, so we're still talking about forget aliens, we're still talking about Cybertruck in the chat here, but I did not, before I read this, I didn't realize that the UFO hearings were going on in Congress right now because there's so many other things, weird things going on in Congress that just seems like a normal day. But this article is hilarious. The hearing speaker list included a number of UFO luminaries. I did not know there were UFO luminaries.
You have not been in the backwaters of the internet, Becky.
Not far
There's
enough into the backwaters.
yeah.
So probably the most anticipated testimony was given by David Grush, a former U.S. intelligence official and so-called whistleblower, who has main claims that longstanding black programs exist within the government that are designed to retrieve crash-landed, unidentified flying aircraft. I mean, this just takes me back to some of the scenes in Independence Day where they were saying, "What? Do you think that they paid $400 for a hammer?" That's where they fund all of the secret things. Oh, what if the aliens that visit our planet are just billionaire aliens on a foreign planet holiday?
100%. 100%.
Yep. And
Unless
then they
someone
realized
figured
that this was the worst vacation ever, and they go right back off to wherever they came from because it's like, yeah, I don't know who recommended that, but I'm totally unfriending them because that was the worst vacation recommendation ever.
they have a TripAdvisor and Earth is like 1 star.
Yeah. 1 star, do not recommend.
Yeah.
Dean, that would explain Florida, says Rob. So, all right. So, Urvashi,
Yes.
I guess we should have actually put this in the chat earlier about the for entering the contest.
Yeah.
Can you
No, but
drop
I
that
think
in?
let's do like a time-bound thing. The form is in the chat now. And then Becky, tell me when you want to close the
Okay. All right. So this
the
form,
entries.
if you will put your name and email address in it so we can do the drawing really quickly. We will keep doing some funny things in the chat. We were going to do a poll, but we can't make sure that we have names and emails. So I know this is an additional step, but to make it fair and not inadvertently pull the wrong info, just really quick Google form. We're not going to use this for anything but just this drawing. So do that quickly, and I will go back to, I think that was the last piece of news. But well, let's tell you what we're drawing for while everybody's putting their names in. Do it quick. Come on, hurry. We're going to cut off the time. We are drawing for a couple of gift cards, $100 and $50, and then 3 swag boxes. Rob's hoping for socks. So maybe if Rob wins one of those, we'll throw some socks in there. But we're going to throw in some things like some t-shirts, and we've got some of the poppers. If you have kids, it's just one of those little popper things that's fun to sit here and mess with. But we also have, besides the t-shirts, we have some stickers, and I think we might have a book or two and some other things. So we will fill you up. Yeah, I might be able to find a hat. If I can find a hat, I'll throw that in there too for somebody that mentioned hats. Yeah, Michael, these are fun when you're in meetings, as long as you're not doing it on camera where people can see that you're doing it. I even saw a crafty person writing numbers on them and using them to count stitches. So if you're crafty out there and you thought of that, that might be another one. Lou, we do not have Lego sets, but with the $100 gift card, you can choose it to be like a virtual gift card, like Visa or something, and you can definitely buy a Lego kit for that. So a Lego set, and a pretty nice one. I still haven't bought the my next one that I want to get is the flowers in the vase, like the really cute flowers. I actually have Van Gogh and I still haven't put it together, so I'm kind of behind on my Lego building. I think Lego building is a little more stressful than this. This is just really like super easy. So how are we doing on the form, Urvashi?
It's going. So you can tell me when we want to stop accepting responses, and then I will.
Well, I want to give everyone a
withdraw.
chance. I want to give everyone a chance who wants to join. Like, I want to make sure that everyone does it. So if you have not done it yet, make a quick comment so we know to hold it open for you. How many entries do we have so far?
We have 47.
Oh, we're almost there.
47?
We're almost there. We've almost got everybody. Yep, I'm going to sit here and keep doing this while I'm waiting for people to put their names in. So, Rivendell set. I have not seen Rivendell. Oh, Brett says he's got his in, so now you can draw. I haven't looked at the biggest one I've done recently was maybe the year before last. We did the Home Alone house at Christmas with the kids, and yeah, it was fun. So I do. I think Tom showed the JumpCloud set when he was on right before Mac Admins. So I know people have been wanting that, but those are things that we give away in person at conferences. Otherwise, I would be sending them out to everybody I could, because they are pretty awesome. All right. So how many do we have on the form now?
49. And every time I think of Legos, I just think about repeatedly stepping on my niece's Legos, because she leaves them lying around all over the place. And so just thinking of Legos, I'm like, ouch.
Yeah.
Right.
Gabriel, I see Gabriel says sign me up to win. So Gabriel, make sure you put your name in the form. Urvashi,
Let me paste it again.
Yeah, because it's kind of scrolled up.
Gone all the way up. No duplicate entries, people. We're not here to get into that game.
You only get one. You only get one chance. So if you enter twice, we're gonna kick out just one of those. The other thing I think that's more as painful as, or not more, are when you have the little jacks sets. little jacks and the little ball where you toss the ball and pick up a jack. Those things hurt because they were usually made out of, when I was a kid, they were made out of metal.
It's a
Painful.
fun, safe toy.
The foot destroyer. I mean, I think though, speaking of Home Alone, in the scene where they do, well, was it I think it was the second one where no, it's the first one where he's at home and he breaks a bunch of Christmas bulbs on the floor. Those things are made of glass and they're like, every time I see that, I cringe because it would hurt so bad. Yeah, it's like shrapnel. Oh, Stuart still has the metal jacks, lawn darts. I think those were outlawed when I was a kid or fairly young. All right, how many entries do we have
53.
now? All right, anyone else want to
There's like
enter?
9 people.
All right, so jump in if you want. All those maybe all JumpCloud people. So
Shall we?
we're going to close it.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Raise your hand if you didn't do it yet. Okay. All right.
1.
So let's
Okay, it's
do we want to
closed.
do we want to do the gift cards and then the swag last, or do the gift cards last? Michael's saying again, pick me,
I think
pick me.
we can do we can go in like backwards order, so we can do the swag bags first, I think.
Okay, we'll do 3 of
Okay,
those.
so we've got
Random
53, so your
generator.
chances are 53. 1 in 53. Get ready. Hang on, I'm doing the math. Da-da-da.
Michael's like, I can't look. The torture, the excitement.
Okay, I'm gonna send the name to Becky behind the scenes.
Oh no, where are you sending it to me?
Slack.
Okay, so first out of 3, Tom Withy.
You get a
Woohoo!
swag bag.
Tom, we will send you an email asking you to put in your address and information. So that's 1. Hold on, Michael. You still have 4 more chances. All right.
Yep.
Next.
Hang on, everybody.
Swag bundle.
Hang on. Next swag bundle being, I feel like the presenter at the Oscars, the one that has the envelope.
Like trying to tear open the envelope.
Ah!
Brett Stone. Congratulations, Brett. You get swag bag number 2. Well, it's probably going to be more like a box, but All right. So 1 more of those.
Okay, 1 more of those goes.
Oh yeah, you should watch Eurovision. I've seen some clips of that. Josh Carrot. So Josh, those are the 3 swag bundles. Next up, $50 gift card. And we'll give you a choice of where you want to redeem that. So just hold on tight. Chris Zerniak, $50. All right, here we go. 1 more with just a couple of minutes left.
And I swear to God, I'm using like a random number generator. Okay, I have no favorites here, so you can trust me on that.
All right, here we go. Paula Terzi. All right, I saw Paula going in the chat earlier too. Woohoo! All right, this is great. So Tom, Brett, Josh, Chris, Paula, congratulations on getting those prizes for SysAdmin Day. And thank you all for coming to be with us on SysAdmin Day. We really do. We love you. We love the participation in the chat and everything. And we thank you so much. And we've been sending out, t-shirts and things recently. So we enjoy doing that. So congratulations. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday. We will email y'all for prize info. And thanks again. Have a terrific weekend. If you're in a hot zone like I am, try to stay cool because it is brutal. Yeah, thank you all.
For anyone else that wants to move, it's monsoon in India, so it's a perfect time to be here. It's super nice.
Except for the monsoons.
It's like great indoors weather.
Yeah, yeah,
It's great
yeah.
indoors weather.
All right. Um, yeah, invite your friends, and we do this every once in a while, but we especially like to do it on SysAdmin Day. So join us next time. And let's see, what is our next week's topic? It is federation capabilities. So Lindsay will be back, and Trevor will be joining her, and they'll be talking about federation. So we will see you all next week. Bye, all. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everyone, and congratulations. Happy SysAdmin Day.
Yay.